So this section is about mind, thinking, thought as a being, though he says thought is a being, the atmospheres of the triune self, and how thoughts are generated. The whole thing is about the thoughts, its creation, etc. This entire chapter is about thoughts itself. So I will start the reading, Balaman, and then you can take over.
Yeah.
Thoughts are generated and must be balanced through the action of mind and desire concerning objects of nature. So anything that has got to do with nature, the objects that pertain to nature, has to be balanced, and that is done through the action of mind and desire. By mind is meant that which uses the conscious life of an intelligence. That intelligence is actually loaned to its triune self. The general belief is that there is one mind, no other is spoken of. That is the general usual practice, right? We all think we have one mind. Actually, there are three minds that are available to the human being. That is, three channels along which the light flows. So here light is what is intelligence, that is the torch bearer. So thinking becomes the torch bearer, correct? So what are these three channels? There is a body mind which operates through the senses concerning all things pertaining to nature. Then there is the feeling mind, which is concerned with the sentiments and feelings. And there is the desire mind, which has to do with action and with the desires. So is everyone on the same page? There are three minds. One is the body mind, which is under the body mind is controlled by the senses. Right? Now senses are controlled by feeling and desire. So that the second one is the feeling mind, which is concerned with the sentiments and feelings. And then there is the desire mind, which is got to do everything with action and with desire. So desire and action go together, sentiments and feelings go together, and body mind is all the senses put together. Thus, the subject of which a person thinks indicates which one of these three minds he is using. Thus, when one thinks along the line of feeling, he is using the feeling mind, controlled, however, by the body mind and interpreted in terms of the senses. Besides, there are four minds. Besides these, there are four minds that are used by the reason and the righteousness of the thinker, and by I-ness and selfness of the knower of the triune self. But these four minds are not available to the doer. Why do you think they are not available to the doer? We have covered that earlier. Or rephrasing, when do you think it is available to the doer?
As long as we use the body mind with the senses, then we cannot access.
Correct. So when we are under the control of this
senses,
what we call the senses, the four sense organs basically, when we are under the control, then the doer himself is completely entangled in the flesh and right. He is entangled in the coil of flesh and the the veins, the circulatory system and all. So when that happens, he does not have an opportunity to function.
To go into
Correct.
yeah, yeah.
Right. Now, where are we? So they will start recognizing that there are 4 more minds for them, which can only be put to use once they are able to overcome being under the control of the senses. Thinking is the steady holding of the conscious light within on the subject of the thinking. So that means he is like the limelight. Thinking is the steady holding of the conscious light within, the conscious light within, the awareness within, on the subject of the thinking, that means staying focused. Because the functions of the knower, the thinker, and the doer are to think. The I-ness of the knower thinks as identity and selfness. Thinks as the what do you call, the I-ness thinks as the identity and selfness thinks as the knowledge. The rightness of the thinker thinks as the law, and reason thinks as justice. The feeling of the doer should think as beauty, and the desire should think as power. But because of the reduced and imperfect condition of the doer in the body, the feeling of the doer in the human thinks from feeling, and the desire thinks from desire. So what is the change?
Yeah, because of its imperfection, it thinks through the feeling and desire.
Actually, the feeling of the doer should be thinking as beauty, and desire should think as the power. Whereas in reality, that is not what is happening. But because of the reduced and imperfect condition of the doer in the body, the feeling of the doer in the human thinks from feeling, and the desire from desire. And the feeling and desire are both compelled by the body, mind, and the senses to think of themselves as senses and as sensation. So that the feeling of the doer in the body thinks with the feeling mind subject to the body mind, and the desire thinks with the desire mind subject to the body mind, and both are made to think in terms of the senses. Right? So that means the body mind takes over the feeling and desire aspect. That is why you don't think beauty, you don't think power. Whereas you start thinking the way the sensation takes you. So you want to continue, Balamam, from there?
Yeah.
Thoughts on
Thoughts and subjects in the physical world are 4 classes. They are sexual, elemental, and emotional thoughts, all of which are stimulated by sensations, that is, elementals, nature units coming from outside the human, and intellectual thoughts which may come from without or from within, but are always stimulated by sensations.
So let us reread that. Thoughts on the subjects in the physical world are of 4 classes. So sexual, elemental, emotional, and intellectual. There are 4. Out of which 3, which is the sexual, elemental, and emotional, are stimulated by the senses, that is elementals, nature units coming from outside the human, and intellectual thoughts which may come from inside or outside, but are always stimulated by the senses.
Yeah. But the difference is they are stimulated by intellectual thoughts.
Correct.
Yeah. The thoughts that are started from without or start from within are caused by the action of nature upon the breath form through the four senses and their systems, the representative of nature. Okay. Again, let me read. The thoughts that are started from without or start from within are caused by the action of nature upon the breath form through the four senses and their systems, the representative of nature. Okay.
So what he is saying? He is saying that nature acts on the breath form. That means breath is the communication agent which is impacting, and the quantum of what you are taking in terms of the four elements through that breath, the breath form is going to stimulate your senses. Once your senses are stimulated, their corresponding systems get triggered, and that is how thoughts are started from within or without, either way. These are caused by nature acting upon the breath form.
Yeah.
And the four senses are definitely the representatives of nature.
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah.
Thoughts of subjects in the light, thoughts of subjects in the life and form worlds are conceived of by men only as they are able to apply them to physical things. Thoughts of subjects in the life and form worlds are conceived of by men only as they are able to apply them to physical things.
So here what he is trying to say is, there is thoughts on subjects which pertain to the physical world. There are four classes.
Yeah.
In addition to that, thoughts that are thoughts about subjects pertaining to the light, form, and life worlds are conceived by men only as they are able to apply them to physical things. That means we are again bringing them back to the physical world. What we don't, what you see is what you get. What you don't see is what you not get.
Yeah.
That is what is becoming. What you call physical presence is what we recognize. Anything beyond physical presence, we are not able to recognize.
Yeah, actually, by looking at the physical things also, we stimulate.
No, we do, but what he is trying to say is, even what you see beyond, correct?
Yeah.
You see beyond, you will start applying or deciphering or what you call comparing it with what you see in the physical world.
Okay.
Otherwise, you don't recognize.
Oh, okay. Yeah. For recognition, yeah, the mind needs the physical thing. Yeah.
Correct, correct.
No, here I think he is emphasizing the sex also. The men would have those.
No, sir. Here, throughout the book, what I have observed is, when he says men, it is mankind.
Oh, okay.
A
So,
person.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
he
it's
belongs to that 1800s when everything was male dominated.
Yeah, here man means a person. Yeah, human. There can be thinking about the triune self, but thoughts are always concerned with the nature and are the result of thinking with attachment to objects of nature.
So thinking is always with respect to nature and object. We are not able to think beyond, you see. We are not, because of our Newton physics or whatever you call. Therefore,
yeah, so they're with the nature and a result of thinking with attachment to objects of nature. So either way, anything related to nature.
correct.
Okay.
Because you are able to perceive things only which you are able to recognize by means of them coming in contact with your senses.
Yes.
Right?
That is
These
how-
four sense organs
Yeah.
are the only ones that you are able to recognize.
Yes.
If something in between them, you are not able to recognize or decipher them. That is the point he's making.
Yeah.
See, why
They-
is it important? What is our aura?
All the system, all four systems exhibit.
Yeah, the radiations from them.
Yeah.
Correct.
Ra-
Now, those we are not able to recognize them. We read about it, we may understand, but we are unable to comprehend what it is.
Yeah. Yes. So therefore, thinking which creates thoughts holds the human being to nature. Therefore, thinking which creates thoughts holds the human being to nature. That is the reason why freedom of the doer in the body and immortality of the body can be attained only by the thinking which does not create thoughts or destiny, that is, thinking which is not attached to objects. Wow. He clearly mentioned how to go beyond to, yeah. You want to explain? This is very interesting. Therefore,
This is straightforward. No, is it explanation required?
straightforward. Therefore, thinking which creates thoughts holds the human being to nature. That is the reason why freedom of the doer in the body and immortality of the body can be attained only by the thinking which does not create thoughts or destiny. That is, and also that is destiny is karma. That is thinking which is not attached to objects.
Look,
Okay, next.
Destiny here is your thought.
Yeah,
See, destiny is your thought itself. The law of thought is destiny.
that's what, yeah. Law of thought is a destiny. Yeah,
Correct. Right? Therefore,
Then-
thinking which
Sure.
creates thoughts holds the mind, holds the human to nature. That is the reason why freedom of the doer in the body and immortality of the body can be attained only by thinking which does not create thoughts or destiny.
Ramakrishna Garu wants to say something.
Yeah, immortality of the body. I mean, body, when can it be immortal?
Sir, see, what he explains, if you recall, correct? When everything is in balance, it is an immortal physical body which is
Okay.
covering and reflected as the triune self. Correct?
Right.
That
So-
one gets corrupted when you succumb to desire.
Yeah,
And
that is
feeling.
objects. Thinking about the objects.
No, not thinking about the objects. When you are in the realm of permanence,
Yeah.
when you are in the realm of permanence,
When there is an
these are-
imbalance.
that there is a perfect balance. And the body is immortal physical body, which is covering the triune self,
Okay.
which is the thinker, knower, and doer.
Right.
They are all held together in a body. That body is physical, immortal body.
Right.
But
When it is balanced.
then when it is balanced, when
Yeah.
it is imbalanced, the body becomes mortal.
Right.
And that body is something which is, in his theory, body is consistent, whether you are in the realm of permanence or otherwise.
No, agreed. What he's talking about, the way I understood,
Hmm.
thinking develops the thoughts.
No. See,
It ceases to develop thoughts when immortality of the body can be immortality of the body can be attained only by thinking which does not create thoughts or destiny. That
Correct.
means thinking
That means,
creates
that means there is a
thought.
perfect balance. Your thoughts are getting balanced immediately. They are not
Yeah.
resulting in a feeling or desire.
One way is detachment from the objects.
Yeah, so thinking which is not attached to objects, that's exactly what he is stating. So if
Yeah.
you are not, that means if you have no desire, you are already in a balanced mind.
Correct. So the moment desire is not there, the
Yeah.
other side of, see, if desire is not there, feeling also will not be there.
Right, so thoughts also will not be there then.
Correct.
Yeah, that is the same thing he's explaining.
That is what he is saying.
Yeah.
That's the reason why freedom of the doer in the body.
Yeah.
This is the
sir,
reason why freedom of the doer
don't
in the
read
body.
half sentence. Actually start with the para itself. There can be thinking about triune self, but thoughts are always concerned with nature and are dealt with thinking with attachment to
Attachment
objects
to
of
objects of
nature.
nature.
Correct? Sir, got it?
He's, see, there can be thinking about the triune self, but those are not attached to nature.
No, you will not be, sir, because only when you are not attached to nature will you be able to think about triune self. Otherwise, you are living in where? You are living under the control of your senses, right?
Right. Yeah, senses are there when you are not balanced.
Correct. So there can be thinking about triune self, but thoughts are always, because he is talking about the condition under which you are. The thoughts that are started from without or start from within are caused by the action of nature upon the breath form. The moment nature acts on the breath form, correct, through the four senses and their systems, which are the representatives of nature. So unless you go beyond that, you will not be able to perceive the triune self. That is what he is saying.
No, but where are the thinking about the triune self? The thinking about the triune self comes only when you are not balanced.
Or you are
balanced,
almost
you are
near
already-
balance.
No, you are not balanced. That's all. So the thoughts come to you when you are.
Sir. It is not the physical that you are thinking. Thoughts of subjects in the light, life, and form worlds. Please understand.
No, I don't think it is that simple as we just discarded it and further wanted to go ahead. I think I cannot understand what he says. See, when I am in a triune self.
Sir, what he is saying is this, please understand. This is the line where he is drawing. See, thoughts on subject in the physical world. Okay? And thoughts on the physical world is which one? The one that is permitted by all these light, life, and form words, correct?
Right.
Right. Now, what he is saying is, thoughts on subjects in the physical world are four classes. They are sexual, elemental, and emotional thoughts, all of which are simulated by the senses. That is, elementals, nature, units coming from outside the human, and intellectual thoughts which are coming from inside and outside. The thoughts that are started from within or without are because of the breath form action on the representatives of nature.
No, that's agreed, because we need to have the senses.
Correct. Now, there is another para, another class of thoughts. These thoughts are, so actually the four classes are thoughts of the physical world, thoughts about the light world, the life world, and the form worlds. Are you with me? The four classes are not these elements that he has given. They are also going beyond. So thoughts of subjects in the light world, life world and form world are conceived by men only as they are applied to the physical things. You bring them down to the physical things for you to understand what it is.
Yeah.
There can be thinking when it comes to these three words, there can be thinking about triune self, but thoughts are always concerned with nature and are the result of thinking with attachment to the objects of nature.
No, that means previous sentence, the one highlighted in blue, says that thoughts are associated with the physical things. Forget about the three words.
No, sir.
Thoughts of subjects in the light, life, and form worlds are conceived by men.
Conceived by men only
Agree,
as because
only.
we are not able to perceive beyond the physical things.
No, as they are able to apply them to physical things.
That is what it means.
Right. So physical things create the thought.
Sir.
in human.
You are missing one important word in what you are reading. You are missing this word. This word is missed out.
Yeah.
Read it again now with stress on this word.
Wise people.
Thoughts of subjects in the light, life, and form worlds are conceived of by men only.
Let us say wise men.
By men only as they are able to apply them to the physical things.
No, by men only. He is talking about of and by men only.
No, sir.
He wouldn't have
Please
used
read
of
the
and by.
sentence.
I'm reading. Thoughts of subjects.
I'm reading it for you. Wait. Thoughts of subjects in the light, life, and form worlds are conceived of by men only
No, it is
as
not
they
conceived
are
by
able to apply them to physical things.
Yeah.
You are not able to think beyond the physical things is what he is highlighting.
No, I agree. I'm not disputing that.
Correct. So, as a result, right, even if you are getting thoughts about the triune self, but thoughts are always concerned with nature because physical things is by virtue of the senses and they are the representatives of the nature.
Does it mean that we cannot think of triune self?
No, you
Triune
will
self
bring
is
it
not
down.
nature.
Your awareness is such that you will bring it down to something physical.
No, I mean,
Therefore,
thoughts can be beyond.
thinking which creates thoughts holds the human being to nature. That is the reason why freedom of the doer in the body and immortality of the body can be attained only by the thinking which does not create thoughts or destiny. That is, thinking which is not attached to objects. So if you are able to think without an attachment to the objects, you may probably be able to perceive something about the triune self.
This is like Viveka Vairagya.
No, Nishkama Phalam.
No, it is Viveka Vairagya, detachment. Vairagya, you need to detach from the physical object things.
Correct. Only then will you be able to create
Then-
thoughts, but no destiny attached to it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's proceed.
That is exactly no thinking right now. So like no thinking is nothing but going into that meditative state. That is what it means, right?
No, madam. No thinking is no action. Inaction is not preached. Thoughts do come, but think without the selfish reason or end result.
No. Thoughts which have not got an attachment to anything physical.
Yeah, that's important. thoughts which are not attached to physical objects.
Correct.
Now, when he's saying thinking where the thoughts don't arise, that means then there is no thinking, right? There
No,
is
no,
no.
no. Thoughts or destiny doesn't arise. When you are thinking, now, when will you think like that? Just think.
Whenever think goes to action,
Whenever you think about something attached to nature and physical element, right?
Yeah.
see, not thinking when about the physical objects, then there is no action, there is no karma, there's no destiny. That's what he's saying.
No, we are mixing things.
We are not, sir. We are not mixing. Where are we mixing? Where are we mixing?
No, see, the way I look at it, sir, thoughts are always related to the objects in the physical form or three of the world, fine. But then there are also thoughts in triune self or about triune self. Those
Correct,
are the
sir.
thoughts that are not connected with the objects that are associated in this world.
Then you are not creating any destiny with those thinking. That is what he is
No.
also saying.
Those thoughts are not creating other thoughts. That's all he's
Sir,
saying.
but they will create other thoughts.
Not the
Because-
thoughts about triune self.
Because of your awareness, you bring down those thoughts to this level.
Okay, let's proceed. Yeah, I think we have spent a lot of time on it. That's okay.
You will understand further when we read, Andy.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's proceed. Yeah,
Right.
please. Go.
Thoughts and
Let's proceed.
thoughts and subjects. Okay, okay. Thoughts and subjects in the physical world are those which have filled the heads and hearts of men, which are the physical world, whatever we see everyday physical world. This kind of thoughts include religion and even the metaphysics of religions, such as speculations about the Trinity and the nature of God. So all these include, about the religion and the nature of God. We always think about like that. It includes politics. Also, it includes politics, government, customs, literature, art. In short, everything that is there on the earth. In this book, chiefly sexual, elemental, emotional, and intellectual thoughts are dealt with. Here he just is dealing with only four: sexual, elemental, emotional, intellectual. He's saying, because they have made men what they are. So because he's saying these are more important for the making of the man, and will for some time to come make the world and the men, the creatures in it, and bring on the events which are usually ascribed to God, destiny, or chance. So let me read again. So these are because they have made the men what they are and will for some time to come make the world and the men and the creatures in it and bring on the events which are usually ascribed to God, destiny, or chance. But see what he is saying, we always think that, oh, because of God this happened, because of that, destiny this happened, but we don't think that, we don't ascribe to ourselves. Isn't it that what, Chandra Garu?
No, that is true. What he is saying is, see, this thoughts on subjects in the physical world, right? Let us apply to that context only. So now when it comes to it includes everything, in this book he wants to restrict his discussion to the sexual, elemental, emotional and intellectual thoughts, because they have made men what they are. See, it is this, all these, if you see, are related to the four senses of the world, of the physical world. And because they have made men what they are, and will for some time to come make the world and the men and the creatures in it, and bring on the events which are ascribed to God, destiny or chance. right? Those are the kind of scenarios which is forcing him to restrict the discussion to these 4 areas only.
Element, yeah, those elements, yeah,
Correct.
that's right.
Right? My
Yeah.
mom is calling me. You people continue, okay? I'll just come back.
Okay. So here, thinking of time, of space, of mathematics, or of any subject in the life world or the light world of the earth sphere is not particularly dealt with here. So he's saying even though the space, mathematics, and all those subjects is not dealing, such thinking need to have direct physical expression and is not exteriorized. So these are all abstract. So that is why he's saying he's not dealing with all those. Unless a thought is created that relates to physical plane. Because so in mathematics and all, because they're not related to physical plane, the space, time, and all. So he's saying he's not dealing with all. The body will have to be cleansed, its centers brought to life, and its channels open before thoughts of the life and light world can be had. Okay, this is very interesting. You know, this is how we know in meditation we will go. The body will have to be cleansed. So to go to that light world, the body will have to be cleansed, its centers brought to life, and its channels open. Literally, these are the, I think, chakras. That's why the cleaning of chakras, you know, they say very important. Channels open before thoughts of the life and the light worlds can be had. So before we access these life and light worlds, so they say, you know, that we had to clean our centers and also the channels to be open. Most men and women are merely doers whose feeling and desire are ruled by sensations and who refuse to be ruled by the thinker and knower parts of the triune self. I think this is all clear. Ramakrishna Garu, is it clear for you? Okay, the body will have to be cleansed.
No, that I understood. No, most men and women are, I mean, earlier, you agreed with Chandra Garu when he said men means men and women.
Yeah.
Here, most men and women, that means earlier men is not necessarily men and women. First point is that.
Yeah.
First point is you said men include women, but here he is separating them. Okay, so we are still not in agreement saying men and women are there at the same sentence.
No. The reason he said, the reason he said here, because feeling and desire are different in both men and women.
Yeah, right. But so men means men. Most men and women are merely doers whose feeling and desire are ruled by sensations, which we agreed earlier itself. It's a repetition of it, yes, and who refuse to be ruled by the thinker and knower parts of the triune self. Yeah, triune self advice.
I would like to clarify that point.
The point
he
which
is bringing in the men and women to represent the feeling and desire. Desire belongs to the male. Feeling belongs to the female. That is why he is bringing it. Wherever he is using men as such, it is for the entire mankind.
Yeah.
There, because when feeling and desire come into the context, then it becomes men and women.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
Okay, most men and women are merely doers whose feeling and desire are ruled by sensations and who refuse to be ruled by the thinker and knower parts of the triune self. Then
they are still living
under the body-mind. Body-mind.
Yes.
Which is controlled by senses.
Correct.
They have few, if any, ideals. So they have very few ideals. So thoughts of a sexual, elemental, and emotional nature hold the stage together with a few intellectual
No,
thoughts.
hold the stage.
Oh, hold
That
the,
means they
yeah.
dominate.
because basically majority of
Together
their
with a few intellectual thoughts which are
Yeah.
entertained to
Yeah.
be the servants of the three other kinds.
Yeah, basically they are dominated by sexual, elemental, and emotional thoughts, but very minor intellectual thoughts. That's what I thought.
No.
Yeah, what is that?
Even the intellectual thoughts are entertained to be the
Okay.
servants of the three other kinds.
Oh, the other three kinds are the sexual, elemental.
Correct.
Okay, even though they have intellectual thoughts, but they are
They are
entertained,
again controlled by these sensuals.
controlled by the other three. Yeah, sexual, elemental. Okay. As to the nature and properties of the thoughts, there is nothing on the visible plane to which a thought can be compared. Okay. As to the nature and properties of the thoughts, there is nothing on the visible plane to which a thought can be compared. This makes,
Ma'am, that is very interesting because thoughts do not have a size.
yeah,
Thoughts do not have a dimension.
yes, that's why it is hard to compare.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, this makes it
a-
hard.
yeah.
This makes it hard to describe the nature and properties of a thought, even though all physical things are exteriorized parts of thoughts. Yeah. Go ahead. You want to?
No, this is straightforward, right? Does it
Yeah.
require explanation? I don't think so.
Yeah. Even though the thoughts really, when they exteriorized, that will come into our life, but it is difficult to compare, he's saying. Because the nature and properties of a thought, even though all physical things are, it's very hard to describe.
Correct.
A thought,
Because
a
you
being.
cannot see the other thing is, even though it is exteriorized, right?
Yeah.
If I say a building is exteriorized.
Until it is exteriorized, it is very difficult until that time. It is only a mind thought.
Correct. A thought
Next.
is a being. This is where he converts. Yes.
Yeah. Now a thought is a being. It has a system, though only a rudimentary one. The system is made up of light of the intelligence, which represents some of the faculties of the intelligence, of projections from the doer, thinker, and knower, and of units from four elements of nature. Wow. Yeah.
So
Very
let us
interesting.
reread this. A
Yeah.
thought is a being, it has a system. The system is made up of light of the intelligence, which represents some of the faculties of intelligence or faculties of projections from the doer, thinker, and knower.
Basically, here the projections of from the doer is the planning. Is something like how when we plan something, that is how we project.
No, ma'am.
What is that?
No. What is the projection from the thinker? Identity and
Projections from the thinker?
yes. No, from the thinker it is justice and reason.
Yeah, reason and justice. Yes.
Correct. And from the knower it is selfness and I-ness. That means one is knowledge.
I-ness and selfness. Yeah, knowledge and
identity.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. Projections from the doer is the okay. So knowledge and the identity.
So this system is consisting of light of the intelligence,
which represents some of the faculties of the intelligence, of projections from the doer.
So first one that system is made up of is light of intelligence, which is nothing but faculties of intelligence.
Yeah,
Then it is made up of projections from the doer, thinker, and knower,
yeah,
Okay.
and of the
and
nature.
of units of the four elements of nature.
Yeah,
So the thought is a being. Thought consists of the
system.
light of intelligence. What is light of intelligence? Intelligence is a unit which has done the full cycle.
Yeah,
Intelligence is the one that has achieved the maximum state of its existence. Okay.
yeah.
And everything is in balance pertaining to that particular consciousness. 1 minute, huh? Just give me a minute. एक मिनट कहाँ गए? Okay. So a thought is a being, it has a system. The system consists of light of the intelligence, which is the faculties of intelligence. What are those faculties of intelligence? वो time वगैरह वगैरह कुछ है ना? Those 7 faculties. Then it represents projections from the doer, thinker, and knower, and units of this one. So it contains all of them. It is made up of and clothed in all grades of nature matter in varying proportions. Is everyone with me?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
all, yeah,
No,
Yeah.
was I audible?
yeah, you are audible. Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry.
Yes, yes, you are audible, sir.
Right. Right. Now, this system is made up of and clothed in all grades of nature matter in varying proportions. That is logical, right? It has got all the 4 elements of nature. That means the consciousness is at various degrees. Then it has got light of the intelligence. That means it is the one which has got all the faculties pertaining to the intelligence, and of projections of the knower, thinker, and doer. So it is having the entire spectrum of the elements of the matter. Correct? It is made up of and clothed by this. It has innate matter of the 4 states of the physical matter drawn through the 4 senses and their systems in the body. It has nature matter of the form, life and light worlds drawn from them in the same way through the breath. And it has intelligent matter from the triune self itself, principally feeling and desire, and matter conscious in the degree called light of the intelligence. Any question? So he has just repeated what he has stated above once again. Not able to hear anyone, no acknowledgements. Am I talking to myself?
No. Here, principally, okay, when he
He has
says,
repeated the same thing.
yeah, it is repeated the same thing. Principally, feeling and desire and matter conscious. Even the matter conscious in the degree called light of the intelligence. So depending upon
Light of
the,
intelligence is that which is supreme intelligence. That means
Yeah,
it
okay.
has gone through the entire state. If a fire, it has reached its maximum radiance,
oh, okay,
like that.
okay.
Hmm.
Okay. A thought has no size. A thought has no size in the physical sense, but it is vast and as compared to the physical acts and objects into which it is later precipitated. Even though thought has no size in the physical form, but it is very vast compared to the physical acts and objects into which it is
So there
later
is no
precipitated.
limit to thinking.
Yeah, when it is when it is exteriorized, it is much bigger and vast. That's what he's saying.
No,
Even though,
till it is vast.
yeah,
Correct.
even though it has no size, but he's saying, you know, by when it
See,
is,
it is vast as compared to the physical acts and objects into which it is later precipitated. So
Oh, okay.
thoughts may be huge.
yeah,
See, like in Telugu, they say, right? Korikile gurralaite.
oh yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
So that means if thoughts were horses, the speed at which you can think is different. What slows it down? When you try to exteriorize it, when you try to precipitate it, when you try to make it physical.
Yeah, okay. The power of a thought.
thought. Yeah,
Yeah.
someone asked a question. I heard someone ask a question.
No,
No.
the power of a thought is enormous and superior to all the successive physical acts, objects, and events that body forth its energy. The power of a thought is enormous and superior to all the successive physical acts, objects, and events that body forth its energy. A thought often endures for a time much greater than the whole life of the man who thought it. Yeah. So even after the body dies, still the thought exists and it has action, isn't it? That's what he's saying.
Correct. See, a thought, for example, in spiritual tablets, we say that we make major mistakes and minor mistakes in life.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, minor mistakes are mistakes that you can correct in this lifetime.
Or major, we had to go through
Yeah,
life.
you may go through multiple lifetimes to correct the major mistakes.
Okay.
Okay. Now read this same sentence and apply it to what we learn in our Sanatana Dharma when it comes to Sanchita Karma, Prarabdha
Yeah.
Karma, and Agami Karma.
Yeah, that's right.
So you need to, for building a house of tomorrow, you need to lay the foundation today.
Especially the book, when I read the chapter you sent, for the karma
The
related,
breath.
yeah, breath, and how it affects the whole generations.
Correct. Oh, that one you are talking about the diagnostics of a karma.
Oh, yeah. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it is. Right.
The one who has written Russian
Yeah,
has
it's a
written.
Russian guy, Lazarev.
Yeah. Very interesting. You know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, a thought often endures for a time much greater than the whole life of the man who thought it. A thought summons and directs
And
units.
now we stop here and again restart. A thought summons and directs units as elemental beings which have to build out the design of the thought. So it is calling upon the energies, it directs the energies, the units of matter, nature or otherwise, considering them to be the elemental beings or the building blocks which have to build out and design of the thought. The power of a thought, when compared to the visible effect produced by it, is by it is of an enormous towering quality, and indeed it must be so, because one of the parents is the intelligence, which is its light lends, which by its light lends to the thought some of its creative power, while the other parent is the doer in the triune self, not the doer in the body, mind you.
Yeah, the doer of the
And
triune.
behind the thought stands the whole force of nature. You can read it again.
Okay. The power of a thought when compared to the visible
No,
effects.
let's start here. The power of a
Okay.
thought is enormous and superior to all the successive physical acts, objects, and events that body forth its energy. That is, the body converts to its energy, or by virtue of the body projecting it as projecting its energy as act, as object, and as event. A thought often endures for a time much greater than the whole life of the man who thought it. For example, Gandhiism, is it still continuing?
Yeah,
Correct? Now, who thought? Gandhi thought. When did he think? More than 100 years ago?
yeah,
Right? That is an example. That's what we are trying to say. A thought summons and directs units as elemental beings which have to build out the design of the thought. The power of a thought, when compared to the visible effect produced by it, is of an enormous towering quality. And indeed, it must be so. That we have covered in the previous para also.
yeah,
Because one of the parent is the intelligence, which by its light, by its awareness, lends to the thought some of its creative power, right? Intelligence, if it knows everything, right? If intelligence is at the highest level of maturity of a particular path, right? Then
yeah,
it is able to give some of its creative power. Why? That is one parent of a thought. That means knowledge is one parent of the thought, while the other parent of the thought is the
Doer.
doer in the triune self. And behind its thought stands the full force of nature. So your fears and all that are eliminated by this light of creative power.
See here, I mean, about the surrender book,
Ah,
when we, how he surrenders
Michael
his thought.
Singer.
Yeah, Michael Singer, and how things unfold, exactly the way he, even though he just submits every thought to the universe, he surrenders.
Correct. That is because he has attained that level of maturity,
Balance.
that level of intelligence.
Yeah, yeah. He is beyond his senses. He went beyond. That is why. Yeah.
So the power of a thought is expressed in the acts, objects, and events in which it is made to manifest. Great or small, they are shadows on the physical plane, projection of projections by the thought. Correct? Any question this far?
So just to sum up,
Ah.
thought is born to intelligence and doer of the triune self.
Correct.
And intelligence has creative power. So intelligence, not necessarily the knowledge. Intelligence involves analysis also.
Sir,
That's
without
why
knowledge, you cannot analyze. So the root cause is, I mean, the root entity of that is
knowledge and analysis, which gives rise to creative power. So behind the thought stands the whole force of nature. I mean, I don't know how it related to the creation of thought, because thoughts are
Sir,
created.
that is not creation of a thought. That is the second entity, the
Behind-
second parent, which both are driven by the force of nature.
Yeah,
What is it?
Both the light, that is the creative power, and the doer, the one who is responsible for the action. There is a lot of force of nature behind them to execute it.
Right. Yeah, because the
That is
doer
what he's saying.
Okay. Yeah. Doer is influenced by force of nature.
Correct.
Yeah.
that
But,
is, sometimes we say nature or universe is cooperating.
The power of a
And of course,
thought is expressed in the acts, objects, and events in which it is made manifest. Great or small, they are nothing but projection of projection of projection of projection by the thought.
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah. So let's proceed to the next.
What if it is not executed?
Sir?
A thought occurs but not executed, then it is not even known to the universe.
Correct. So,
Okay.
no, it is, sir, no, everything is known to the universe.
That's what I thought, but then this seems to be put a restriction there, right?
No, he has not put a restriction. Where has he put the restriction?
The power of thought is expressed in the
Yeah,
act, object,
right.
and events in which it is made
Yeah,
manifest.
Correct.
It is
So
made
manifest
manifest.
can be positive and negative, right?
No, we are not talking about the thought is good or bad. We are not talking about the positive or negative.
No, he is
We are only talking about
the
expressed
power
in
of
the
a
act.
thought. Sir, the thought has to be exteriorized. Now
Not
forget the
necessarily.
result. Forget the
Yeah.
result. Don't bring in result here. Did you, when you launched the first space program, Kalam, he said, I have put, it was to go to the orbit, I actually ended up putting it in the Bay of Bengal. They manifested the rocket. It didn't give the result that they were looking for, but they still manifested. The result was a failure. Your thinking manifest means only the correct ones.
I don't know which it is made manifest. What does it mean? Basically, I mean, a thought is expressed only when it is executed into some kind of a physical object.
Sir, it is not the thought. There is some, that sentence has got one more word before it.
Power of a thought.
Correct.
Yeah. The power of a thought.
The power of that thought is expressed in the acts, objects, and events in which it is made manifest. Your bringing in result is equal to manifest.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that.
If you are not bringing that,
Yeah,
then it is
I'm not
manifested,
bringing-
right?
Yeah, whatever you do, whether you succeed or not, but you are.
There is a power of thought, and you are expressing it in those three manners.
That's right. Even in words, you don't
Correct.
have to do anything. Yeah, even in words you are expressing. Yeah.
And those happen to be repeated thoughts, basically. That is what he is meaning.
But some thoughts die without even expressing.
Correct, quite possible.
So they are not known to the universe. I thought everything is known to the universe.
Everything is, who said they are not known? They are not known to the physical world, but they are known to the universe, which is more than the physical world.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I wanted to bring out. Yeah.
Correct.
So it is known.
So,
Yeah.
in such a vast, ma'am, you can continue.
Okay, in such a vast, powerful, and lasting being are potentially a great many physical acts, objects, and events which gradually appear out of it, like all that comes out of a seed. Okay, in such a vast, powerful, and lasting being are potentially a great many physical acts, objects, and events which gradually appear out of it, like all that comes out of a seed. Like the
So,
seed.
this is, he is talking about,
From the
talking
thought,
about the word thoughts.
yeah.
So, in such a vast, powerful, and lasting being, thought is a being, right?
Yeah.
That is what he is now exemplifying. Okay. There are,
Okay, which gradually, okay, there are many more thoughts generated than there are men, animals, plants, and things in this world. Some thoughts are insignificant. Ramakrishna Garu, this answers your question. Some thoughts are insignificant, like that of plucking an apple or of saying, "How are you?" habitually. Some thoughts are important, such as the definitive and far-reaching thoughts of William Penn, the philanthropist, or of Camilo Carver, the statesman. It is therefore difficult to cover the whole field accurately and completely. The statements here made must of necessity be general, incomplete, and subject to explanations and exceptions. So depending upon, he explained the thoughts, minor, major, insignificant, significant.
so we will just read it once again. In such a vast, powerful, and lasting being are potentially a great many physical acts, objects, and events which gradually appear out of it, like all that comes out of a seed. There are many more thoughts generated than there are men, animals, plants, and things in this world. Some thoughts are insignificant, like that of plucking an apple or saying, "How are you?" casually or habitually. Some thoughts are important, such as the definitive and far-reaching thought of William Penn or so. It is therefore difficult to cover the whole field accurately and completely. The statements here must be necessarily general, incomplete, and subject to explanations and exceptions, because there is that Turiya part which is going to play a role, or the unmanifested which is going to have its own influence. Yeah, let's continue.
Okay, thoughts are either conceived, gestated, and born, or are former thoughts of the same or another person, which are received, entertained, and issued again. Usually, a thought conceived and born is entertained and issued many times before it is exteriorized.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, take your construction of a house, for example.
Yeah, we keep on looking at the plan and yeah.
We come changing, then suddenly a thought will come. That thought will say your kitchen sink on the right hand side, then some Vastu fellow will come and say, it can't be there. That is the north corner. You put it in the south corner. Right? There may be so many. Now again, your beliefs will change that before it is exteriorized. So all these things play a role.
That's why he's saying either it can be from the same person or from another person also. When received, retained and issued again. Okay. There is a nature organization as well as the constitution of a triune self for thinking and the consequent production and exteriorization of thoughts. So there is a nature, yeah. So the whole thing is like an organization, how it works.
No, there are two elements here. There is a nature organization as well as the constitution of a triune self for thinking and the consequent production and exteriorization of thoughts.
So together they had to work
Correct.
for thought to be exteriorized.
Yeah.
So the
So
nature
he's
of all,
taking us through that.
yeah, in the body comprises the nature of the organization in the body comprises the four senses, their systems,
Not
and
nature of, the nature organization.
oh, the nature, okay, sorry. The nature organization in the body, okay, correct. The nature organization in the body comprises the four senses, their systems and organs, and the physical atmosphere. Okay. So those are the four digestive.
The systems are your the four systems: respiratory, digestive, circulatory, and generative.
Generatory and their related organs and the physical atmosphere. They're related physical atmosphere. The constitution of the triune self comprises the portion of the doer, its thinker and knower, and their atmospheres and their breaths.
Correct.
So the whole constitution of the triune self comprises the portion of its doer portion. We had to remember the portion of its doer, its thinker.
Correct, because the other portion is not in the triune self.
Yeah.
It is in
it's
the
in the
physical
realm of permanence.
No. This triune self itself is realm of permanence.
So the other part is where?
It is in the physical body.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this triune self comprises the portion of its doer, thinker, and knower, and their atmospheres and breaths. The nature organization in the body is arranged to receive the impulse, pull, and pressure of nature, which comes through the openings and nerve centers in the body. So this is the chakra system.
Yes. Okay. Now, interestingly, see, this also is an explanation for why on a full moon day you have high tides.
Oh, yeah. So the pull and pressure, yeah.
Correct.
The nature organization in the body is arranged to receive the impulse, pull, and pressure of nature, which come through the openings and nerve centers in the body. Through these,
that is why the full moon energies of nature affect you also.
Yeah, and also the nature, yeah.
Correct.
Through the four senses are through these the four senses are reached and compelled. Okay. Through these, the four senses are reached and compelled. Through these means the nerve centers of the body.
So the nerve centers, then they are surrounded by those atmospheres, all that play a role.
Yeah.
Correct.
The senses act on their respective four systems through the sympathetic or involuntary nervous system. So senses act on their respective four systems through the sympathetic or involuntary nervous system. All of this is the natural and involuntary activity of the body.
So this is the involuntary nervous system, not the voluntary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Through the openings and yeah. No, sympathetic or involuntary. Okay.
Correct.
A triune has three.
Shall we stop there, because the next portion we need to concentrate extensively.
About the triune self. Yeah, we will
No.
stop here.
This is not just the triune self, right? The triune self has three parts: the psychic part, or the doer, the mental, the thinker, and this one. And a portion of the doer is in the kidney, and also now he is mapping the whole thing to the physical body, human body.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. The other high, yeah.
So that
Yeah.
one, we will need to digest the previous element. So people may want to go over what we have discussed thus far.
Okay.
And then tomorrow, if we take this up, the clarity will be very good.
Okay, sure.